The population of the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon continue to experience ghost towns even after the major national dialogue in Cameroon and after the message of President Paul Biya at the end of 2019 and at the start of 2020. President Paul Biya indicated that the major national dialogue organized in Yaoundé was one of the major steps to bring normalcy to the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. In this edition of the news, we shall be painting the picture of the northwest and southwest regions today, a Monday, and in today's ghost towns in the northwest and southwest regions, another big heavyweight of the Social Democratic Front as their political party pays the price again to the worsening Anglophone crisis. The residence of Honorable Fusi Namukong was reduced to ashes today in Bafu in the Mezam division of the northwest region of Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us on the primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television, live from Equinoxe Central News Desk in Douala, Cameroon. I am for me, Armstrong Sander. Thanks for listening or decided to listen to news on the best of channel, that is Équinoxe Television. We are broadcasting live from Douala, Cameroon, Cameroon's economic capital. We begin with one of our lead stories. The population of the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon continue to experience ghost towns even after the end of the major national dialogue in Cameroon and several measures proposed by the government of Cameroon to end the worsening crisis in the two English-speaking regions. Many critics had hoped that after the major national dialogue put in place by the government of Cameroon and even after the voting of the bill that contained the content of the special status accorded to the two English-speaking regions, normalcy was going to retain, and normalcy including a stop to the traditional ghost towns experience in these regions of the country. But today, Sibanji Kangebe saw a disturbing picture of the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. His report.
A normal day at the Mbong Motor Park in Bengui, Momo division of the Northwest region. Business persons and inhabitants go about their normal activities hitch-free. It's ghost town this Monday and the park has been abandoned. No soul could be seen at the Mbong Motor Park in Bengui, as business persons as well as its inhabitants stay indoors for the fear of the unknown. As we moved around Bengui town, some few persons could be spotted, certainly heading to their farms. Apart from Bengui, some major streets in Kumba, chief town of Meme division, were also deserted by its inhabitants. No commercial motorcycle, private car, nor taxi could be spotted moving. Many had hoped that after the holding of the major national dialogue and the recent putting into law of the special status, though not yet into practice, the ghost town phenomenon will come to an end. Unfortunately, ghost towns continue to hamper business activities in the two English-speaking regions 3 years running, with even government offices succumbing to it.
Even after failing to give the desired hope to the people of the Grand North region of Cameroon or meeting their aspirations, allies of the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, a political party, continue to give hope to the people of this part of Cameroon and equally the entire nation. One of them is Sachuruma Bakari, Cameroon's Minister of Employment and Vocational Training, who was a guest on Equinoxe Television's program La Verite and Fast on a Sunday, indicated that there are equally issues being put in place or strategies being put in place by the government of Cameroon to give the necessary hope and jobs to the people of the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Now, next steps and of the key declarations of Minister Sachuruma Bakari in this report compiled by Innocent Aze. And of course, we shall be coming back to the reports compiled by Équinoxe subsequently. Meantime, we take you to the Brazzaville neighborhood of the city of Douala, precisely in the Douala 3 municipality, where calm is gradually returning after a disturbing weekend, a weekend that was marked by confrontation between youths of the neighborhood and elements of the Army Rescue Unit. Équinoxe tells us why.
A demoralized and disappointed population of the Brazzaville neighborhoods in the Douala 3 subdivision. Two snack bars razed to ashes, a story building and a post of the electricity production and distribution company touched by flames Saturday night due to what the rioters termed poor management by the firefighters, who allegedly arrived late without water to quench the flames. The rioters say the fire started at 7 p.m. but firefighters arrived only at 9 p.m. after their fruitless efforts. They even flexed muscles with a rescue soldier as they arrived at the scene at 10 p.m. Gunshots were fired to disperse the angry population. Captain Afu Hansel said their vehicle was attacked with stones by the population when they first arrived. That it is the second time they are attacked in Dakar. There was heavy deployment of the police and gendarmerie elements who had the angry rioters to contain.
Il aurait fallu que je rende compte d'abord à ma hiérarchie, que la hiérarchie, le délégué régional, mette un bon dispositif de sécurité pour que les sapeurs ne soient plus vandalisés et qu'ils achèvent le travail dans la mission pour laquelle ils ont été interpellés par les populations.
The fire, sources say, generated from explosion of a generator that was being used as a result of power outage.
And on to something else. After some 2 weeks of breaks, which was characterized by fun and lots of merrymaking, school kids across Cameroon and university students have resumed classes today for the second term and second semester as far as higher education across Cameroon is concerned, being the shortest in the school calendar in terms of consistency with lots of extracurricular activities. School authorities have devised strategies in order to give the necessary learning or teachings and knowledge to learners across Cameroon, as presented in the following report by Hemin Eluga.
The term is short in terms of consistency and decisive, coming after a somewhat lengthy first term. For most schools, like it is the case at the Government Bilingual High School of Bepanda Douala, the first term, according to the principal, Mrs. Eboa Tama, was average.
The first term was average, just average, because as you know, during the first term we still managing with some students who are not normally included in the reopening, from the reopening. So what we try to do is to help them to be inserted, especially those students who are IDPs.
Filled with lots of public holidays, the school staff has set up strategies for this second expeditive term so as to ensure quality results.
We are trying to do everything to help the students to perform better than what they did for the first time. The key that we are using here is we follow the students. We are behind them at any time. We are behind them. We don't let them study as they want. We have teachers that are always with them to help them to study. And we try, for what concerns the teachers themselves, we try to make them be there every time.
As for students in examination classes, determination, discipline and hard work remains the watchwords, and the students are quite conscious. Twendem Thega is an upset, and for successful tips, she says she is conscious and she promises to undermine the distractions of the term and rather focus on her bookwork.
Puisque j'ai un objectif, mon bac.
Similar aspirations and prospects for Blandinette Momo, who is as well an opposite student. She plans to improve her 14 average of the first term.
Tout ce qui m'a empêché en fait d'atteindre ces objectifs, là, voir mes erreurs, voir ce qui n'a pas exactement marché.
The second term marking the 2019-2020 academic year has then kick-started, leaving on board its wagon conscious staff, students and pupils across the National Triangle.
And on to parts of the conflict-hit northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, students and people of villages like Tabinkin and Nkambe villages and Binka villages within Nkambe Central Subdivision of the Donga Mountain Division of the northwest region of Cameroon. As you could see, images in the images on the screen, equally returned to school today in colors. Most of them are following the call from elite, like the leader of the National Peace Caravan to the Donga Mountain Division, Honorable, that is Mr. Ngla and equally some key elites of the area who called for locals to shun their fears, and parents responded positively. They all went out and cleaned the various schools, after which they each took their kids to school last November. It should be noted that the effort of the elite was equally supported by some of their elites who gave didactic materials, amongst them textbooks and uniforms to some of the kids who have been for more than 3 years without school, as the Anglophone crisis rocked the areas and other areas in the northwest and southwest regions. Gladdened by this political effort, elites in the likes of Shejun Siembe equally came in with what they could to support the initiative of some elites. Shejun Siembe equally, according to reports, supported with some financial support to help kids to be able to get their school materials and of course get uniforms and books in order to answer present in school, as images could be seen there within Tabinkin and Binka villages. And of course, he said children could be well kept when going to school, and he will do his best to support the effort of these very brave schooling children in the area that is notably in the Nkambe Central Subdivision. The efforts of some of the elites like Ngala and Shejun Agembe, supported by administrative officials like the senior divisional officer of the Donga Mountain Division and equally security officials of the area. We shall be looking at the first day of school in other parts of the northwest and southwest regions in subsequent editions of news on Equinoxe television. Meantime, we take you to the Mungo division of the Littoral region, where back to school did not start on a good foot, as some of the kids were asked to go back home because of non-payments of school fees. Some of them were simply asked to go back home because they were not in the right attire, as presented by Immaculate Fogwe in the following report.
The festive period is over, and now another decisive term welcomes students in their different institutions. For some pupils whose parents have not completed their school fees, sending them back home was the lone option.
Today we are going for school and they are joyful. We are going home. Want to go and pay for the school fees.
While some pupils are sent back home for having not completed their school fees, others are denied entry into the school premises due to the hairstyles that do not correspond to school rules and late coming. Notwithstanding such cases, lectures are effective in the different classrooms.
Second term of the 2019-2020 have started smoothly in my school. Since morning, I've been receiving children. They're already in class. Classes are already going on.
On the assembly ground, students are called upon to respect school rules and equally work hard.
Tell us in the assembly that everybody that did not have the entrance to work hard, to not make bad friends, because when you make bad friends, they'll carry you into bad things and you will not be successful in life.
Holidays are over and students have been called upon to respect school rules and regulations so as to ensure a serene environment for studies.
To meet the aspirations of the population of the Grand North Cameroon after over 30 years of leadership, allies of the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, the CPT, and political parties still give the citizens, especially those of that parts of the Republic of Cameroon, hope, and inviting them to continue to support President Paul Biya's regime. Issa Chiromo Bakari, the current Minister of Employment and Vocational Training and Minister of the National Salvation Front, a political party, on La Vérité en Face on Equinoxe Television, said the CPTM and his party share common objectives, which are objectives that are geared towards giving the desired livelihood to the people of the Republic of Cameroon. Innocent as they followed that report, or rather that program, and compiled the following report.
North, and Adamawa regions all together make up what is termed the Grand North, constituting a main pillar of Cameroon. Sufferings endured by the population are immense. Despite their trust accorded the ruling regime for over 30 years today, the Grand North or Northern Cameroon is plagued by water crisis, dilapidated roads, limited schools and health centers, epileptic or no supply of electricity, and many more. Representative political parties like the National Salvation Front Party of Issa Chiromo Bakari, Minister of Employment and Vocational Training, the UNGP, MDR, ADD, and ANGP are known to have converted the population of Grand North to pillars of the CPDM party. On La Vérité en Face on Equinoxe Television, President of the National Salvation Front Party, Issa Chiromo Bakari, said Grand North hopes a lot from the head of state.
Le Grand Nord attend beaucoup le chef de l'État. Le Grand Nord a consenti beaucoup de sacrifices.
The minister and allies to the CPDM assured that the president has a holistic vision to the challenges faced by northern Cameroonians.
Je pense que ce problème-là, aujourd'hui porté à sa connaissance,
that President Paul Biya is reflecting on sustainable solutions for situations in Grand North.
La symétrie dans la distribution disparaisse pour que table banc soit mise en place pour qu'on construise ainsi de suite.
Supporting President Paul Biya to him is a big sacrifice for the sake of the country's unity, threatened by waves of conflicts ranging from the economic, social and political domains.
Lorsque vous traversez une zone de turbulence, ce que vous souhaitez au capitaine, c'est sa réussite, quels que soient les griefs et l'inimitié que vous avez à son endroit.
To leader of the National Salvation Front, his party will for life accompany the CPDM in any move, once their destination remains unique, like during presidential elections, though from different political routes.
Nous avons un destin commun, nous avons un objectif commun, et c'est pour cela qu'à la faveur de l'élection présidentielle, et vous constaterez que c'est tous les partis septentrionaux aujourd'hui qui soutiennent le
concern, and the representatives of the UNHCR were on the ground recently to ensure the smooth running.
And of course, that was Innocent Aze presenting the declarations of Minister Issa Chiromo Bakari of Employment and Vocational Training. He was guest on La Vérité en Face on Equinoxe Television. That's a Sunday program. Sunday, the 5th of January 2020. Minister Issa Chiromo Bakari, should be noted, is the national president of the National Salvation Front, an opposition political party that has been an ally of the ruling CPT and political party for years now. And on to something else, the Bafut residence of Honorable Fosing Namukong has been reduced to ashes by yet to be identified individuals. The residence of the Honorable Member of Parliament of the Social Democratic Front political party was burnt the night breaking today on Monday, the 6th of January 2020. Speaking to Equinoxe Television from Yaoundé, Cameroon's political capital, the Member of Parliament indicated that he was warned by yet to be identified individuals that his residence was going to be attacked as a result of his continuous stance for the people. That is, those are the words of the Honorable Member of Parliament who spoke to us on a telephone interview a few minutes before the start of news. He, however, indicated that that has not moved him. He will continue to stand for his people. And it should be noted that he is not the first SDF senior official to have suffered that. We've equally had the residence of Honorable Joseph Bandan burnt and that of Menjong Donatos of Kumbu, and equally the SDF district chairman of Kumbu, still in the Boy division, northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. That's it for the first part of news. Up next is Talking Points. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on our Talking Point tonight. We are receiving Tagia Pascal Blaise, who is equally communication or secretary of communication in a political party in Cameroon that is already in French Peuple Intègre pour le changement that is in Cameroon. And of course, we are having him tonight to talk about some key issues in the Republic of Cameroon. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Mr. Armstrong.
Of course, you followed a news event. We started with a report that presents a rather disturbing picture of the Anglophone regions. We are still having ghost towns, like they say, Villemont in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, even after the major national dialogue, even after the putting in place of the special status for the northwest and southwest regions, even after the end of year and the New Year message of President Paul Biya. How can we explain that?
Well, for us, we are not surprised in our party about what is happening to Cameroon, because right from the beginning, when we began first intervening really like for the human right, we always said the solution was dialogue, right from the beginning. So we are not surprised. Now we have been talking about a national dialogue. How was the dialogue? And it goes back to what we really try to straight out. And that's why we have this party, which is talking about integrity, because that's the main thing Cameroonians need at the moment. We have to go back to integrity. Let me tell you, Mr. Armstrong, if you were to ask us, if you were to ask me today, what is the real problem of Cameroon, I will tell you it is not a physical problem. It's not a problem that we can fight with force, with strength or power. It's simply a spiritual problem that Cameroon is facing. And just I'll add to say, you know, we had the Transparency International that came to come and said Cameroon was among the most corrupted countries in the world. The real thing Transparency has to do is to bring some mature spiritual people, and they will discover that Cameroon is probably the most corrupted in its church. And that's the main problem of Cameroon.
In the church?
Yeah, in the church. The church. I'm not going to go around and tell you in many ways. How Cameroonians have brought God is to use lotus. Is to equal God to lotus. You know the lotus paper? What do you do with the lotus paper? You use it, you clean your face, you clean the sweat. After you throw it away.
All right, it's interesting. We're going to come to that. I understand when you say Cameroonians use God like that West paper, and then we'll be coming back to that. Now let's go chronologically. You started talking about how you of your political party is that of people of integrity for Cameroon for change. That's for the change in Cameroon. You started by talking about the dialogue. I mean, we've had different political parties, different civil society groups, and different other organizations and personalities giving their stance on that. What was the stand of you people of integrity in Cameroon vis-a-vis the dialogue? Because the dialogue was, according to the government, well intended to bring solutions genuinely to the crisis in the north.
But listen, Mr. Armstrong, we cannot talk about dialogue when one person A is fighting against B. All right?
Yeah.
One A is fighting against B. Now suddenly A stands on one side and talk about making a dialogue between themselves to impose to B. And we say that you have made a dialogue. We've got to be clear about this. And that's why I'm saying that right from the beginning, we talk about dialogue. Even when you have a child, you have a problem with a child, let the child express his views. We are in a modern time today where truth has gone out. Many people have seen it. And that's why I talk about church. I thank God you said that you are going to go back to church. But that's what I'm saying. The church accompanying that spiritually, we will have understood that the issues Cameroon is facing are highly spiritual. And the church has to settle it. But where is the church in Cameroon? The church stands on the wrong side. The church starts corrupted.
Does it mean when the people keep saying that the government should provide solutions to the crisis, for example, the one in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, are people asking for solutions from the wrong source?
Well, people are not asking solutions from the wrong source. Let's say, I cannot just say, or let's say 50-50, because at the beginning, we have the part of the government where mistakes were made. And when we look at the two previous dialogues of Mr. Biya, we could see that now we was getting closer, because himself at the first dialogue, after he came back to swear in, he said he recognized two important things that nobody, no party member of CPDM had ever recognized. He recognized that there is an Anglophone problem. Up to that time, nobody ever said it. He recognized also that there is a frustration.
Yes.
And now moving forward, the next page, he talked about moving really towards the dialogue. That's why things went a bit calm. Things went on like calm. And suddenly we go back again to the last dialogue where nothing was said against, because you know we were not hearing about terrorists and all this, because we knew that we had human beings on the other side. I mean, talking to you, Armstrong, my wife, is from the both regions.
Yes.
That is northwest and southwest.
Yes.
So I leave that problem. I leave a woman who struggled every day to say when she wants to say, donne-moi le papier. When she reaches le, she has to wait from some time. If I make a mistake now, is it le, la? Is it le, la? It may look like a joke,
yeah,
but that's a real problem. That now the CPDM is trying to settle by talking about bilingualism. It doesn't work that way. You sit down with people, you talk about it, about the issues. However, the history brought it. However, France, which is the main problem, stands behind all that to create that issue. You stand and talk with them. And that's what the Bible is all about. You know, love means you sit down with the other one and you talk his problem. You talk your problem. You talk your view with him. That's what we said right from the beginning. We said dialogue, 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 dialogue. And dialogue with the other party, not dialogue within you to impose to the other party.
You of integrity recognize, people of integrity recognize, I mean, already say it was a good thing for the president to have recognized and accepted that there was an Anglophone problem, and went further to come up with commissions like that of the promotion of bilingualism and multiculturalism. And that was a good step going. Where did he go wrong then? Where, at what point did things went wrong and started going the way that we are having them pronounced today as solutions, but on the ground we are seeing a different issue?
Well, you are asking quite a very important question.
Yes,
Mr. Armstrong. You see, and you are still philosophing. I will go back to what I said right from the beginning, that the problem of Cameroon is spiritual. I'll take an example to you. Some time ago, I don't want to name the name of any party.
Yes.
Some time ago, some few months ago, I knew a man from one of our main opposition party, with whom I had a lot of sympathy. And I told him, your party has wonderful ideas for Cameroon. But my problem, our problem in this country at the moment is not good philosophy. Because of what we have on television, all talking, main philosophy. We can't talk about the emergence of Cameroon putting God aside. We would have liked to see Mr. Biya, when he ends his speech, saying, for example, God bless Cameroon. These are things that are done elsewhere. He is before God the first personality. Because the Bible says that he is the one that God set kings and removed kings. Saying just God bless Cameroon is a lot. We never heard that. And these are important issues. So now, coming back to philosophy, when you say, when did things go wrong? Sometimes you have the impression that people who rule Cameroon, they are not Cameroonians. That they come from another planet. Maybe they live in Mars. Maybe they are not in our state. You understand?
Yes.
And that way I say, the church standing, we've seen it in other parts of the world. We saw the church standing in South Korea,
South Korea 70 years or 60 years ago was just equal to Cameroon. Cameroon was even helping South Korea.
Now, before I come back to why the church has not been really to know why the church has not really been assuming this position, I want you to be clear on when you say sometimes you look at the leaders at the head of key positions in Cameroon, you have the impression, or you tend to question if they are Cameroonians. What do you mean?
Yeah, well, what do I mean? Have we seen all the leadership of the CPDM? They have never recognized. They say Cameroon things are well. Everything is running well. With 500 people that are not living in the place, with our young ladies going to the forest to do to clean their private parts, and they still stand and say Cameroon is fine. Cameroon is okay. When the United States stand to say, well, we are not going to support Cameroon anymore, like from this month of January, they still stand and say, no, Cameroon is okay. Cameroon is okay. Cameroon is okay. You see, you look at a country where a whole government, and that's also another mistake of the CPDM, a whole government is in Kondengi. When our party takes over in this country, if we can have Christians understanding that this is the time they have to reveal themselves to get into power, if our party could take over, engineers should be the one to go to prison. You don't come, you have studied, the country has spent money to show you how to put a block for a house. You come and you say that the administrator told you to put it on the left, while you knew that you have to put it on the right. Until you do it, because we are going to receive some small money and he's going to get the big one. And at the end of the day, the administrator is the one to be put in Konenge. Not you, who is the real problem. They have to be put in prison. The next thing, our party is going to raise a whole ministry in charge of religion, because it's a whole disorder. This is just giving the name of offering, taking money. The poor Cameroon, even the IDPs, when they run until they reach a city where they can go to church the next morning. Can you give offering? Can you give money? Nobody really cares about the reality they are living.
Mr. Tagie Bless, you are raising two problems at the same time. The problem where we listen to you, one will understand that there is a lack of integrity and the lack of the fear of God in some persons holding key positions in Cameroon. That needs probably people with the fear of God, people of integrity in those positions. And the only place we believe we can find those people is in the church. And at the same time, you are raising a problem with people in the church. Then where are the people? Where will the people be coming from?
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. Listen, we've got a rest in this country, like in the time of Elijah. You see, Elijah never knew that there were people that are standing firm. You have a rest just waiting for a spark to arise, and Cameroon will be saved. Cameroon is the most beautiful country. We seek to say it. Cameroon is the most beautiful country, and the world is waiting to see that revelation. I will just stand two little scriptures in the Bible, and Mr. Armstrong, check all around Cameroon and see if any pastor has ever preached those scriptures. They get around, then when they reach that scripture, they jump over. I'll take the book of Acts chapter 20, verse 33 to 35. Paul, the man who brought us the gospel, Paul stands and says, look at my hands. These hands have worked hard to feed me and feed those that were following me. That's what Paul is saying. It's not me saying. It is what the Bible says. It goes further in 1 Thessalonians 4, I think verse 11 and 12, and says he encourages those who believe and those servants of God. Walk so that you should give a good example to those who follow you. But take the servants of God. Nobody will preach that. Take the servants of God. They say they're praying from morning to 24 hours. He has a small garden behind the house where he can go and put some corn, maize, or some cocoa. He'll never do it. He'll dress well, put a tie like my own, that the Frenchman had come to teach us, because that's what is going to show that he's a high-class personality. He will push it, put it, and say, I'm waiting to pray for people. Paul is saying, walk so that you will show them a good example. Now, so normally in a country that is in a mess, because Cameroon is in a mess, we've got to say the truth as it is. Cameroon is not okay. Cameroon is running in a mess. In a kind of situation like this, the solution should come from the church. But our church, what I qualify to say, is today running in a slavery of hunger of materialism. And that's why, to close, to end, just to fall, I will say, Mr. Armstrong, run and see the churches in Cameroon. You will see they go, if they park a big Mercedes in front of the church, if they park a big Land Cruiser, okay, that's going to attract them. Since that's what they are looking for.
Yes. Now, before we go, you are presenting the church as the solution. Prayers that the problems in Cameroon, the solution is that the problem is spiritual, and solution must be brought by people of integrity, people with faith. But we've seen a case where a religious personality came up in Cameroon during the just ended presidential election, stood and wanted to run for president or a presidential election. He was criticized and was not even voted by Cameroonians. Do Cameroonians even understand this philosophy of yours when you say the solution of Cameroon must be brought by Christians and people of the church?
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. That's really a fundamental question. You see, my dear friend, it's not because you are seeing someone going to church. It's not because you are seeing someone carrying all the titles, bishop, reverend, and all this, that heaven's open to him. Jesus said it in many times. You know who killed Jesus? It's priests. It's Pharisees. You have within the church. And that's what I'm saying. There is a rest. They are just there waiting. When the time comes, they will arise. And that time is coming. Because I am warning, and this party is warning, all these fake pastors that are killing the hope of Cameroonians. Your time has come to step down or to pack your bags and leave the church. You are there to give hope, not to kill hope. You are there to bring people to see the light of Jesus, and that light has never been equal to money. But people fail to understand. Paul said, if you have food to eat, in 1 Timothy 6:8, if you have food to eat and some raiment to put on you, be content. But they come and they said, Abraham was rich, he was wealthy, you've got to be wealthy. And that's how they drag people of little understanding of the Bible. And they know that 95%, even the world says it. If you want to keep something, put it in the book. So, put in the Bible, Cameroonians never read, and they know it.
Thanks very much. It's a problem and of course issue that you raised starting from key officials, and now we will be coming back with you in subsequently in our programs and newscasts on Equinoxe Television. He is Mr. Tagia Pascal Bless. He is equally Communications Secretary of the People of Integrity for Change in the Republic of Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for staying with us. Mr. Pascal, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Armstrong.
And of course, we are grateful and urging you to stay in the company of programs on Equinoxe Television. Have a nice evening.